Hello and a very good day. Our group will be presenting on our defense plan to mitigate the possible attacks that we had highlighted in Project 1. Here are the list of mitigations that we used. First, for reconnaissance, the mitigation steps would be application developer guidance and audit. Second, the resource development mitigation would be pre-compromise, while for the third one, the initial access, there are three mitigation used, which are antivirus or anti-malware, restrict web-based content, and user training. While for execution, the mitigations would be behavior prevention on endpoint and execution prevention. Next, we have defense evasion, and for this, we need three mitigations, which are environment variable permissions, remote data storage, and restrict file and directory permissions. For discovery, there are also three mitigation steps that consist of disable or remove feature or program, network intrusion prevention, and network segmentation. Then, the mitigation for collection technique would be data loss prevention, while for exfiltration, the mitigation is operating system configuration. And lastly, the impact technique. The mitigation used there are behavior prevention on endpoint and data backup.
Hello everyone, now I'm gonna explain on the mitigation of the technique that we have been choose. For the reconnaissance, the assistant may mitigate by using audit in reconnaissance, where the assistant need to scan public code repository for exposed credential or other sensitive information before making commits. Ensure that any leaked credentials are removed from the commit history, not just the current latest version of the code. Next, mitigation using application developer guidance can be used. We managed to find out that adversary may identify more sensitive data, including accidentally leaked credential or API keys using this technique. Hence, the application developers should be careful in uploading to public code repository to avoid publishing sensitive information such as credential and API keys. Second, for the resource development technique, the mitigation is pre-compromise. This technique cannot be easily mitigated with preventive control since it is based on behavior performed outside of the scope of enterprise defense and controls. This category is used for any applicable mitigation activities that apply to technique occurring before an adversary gains initial access, such as reconnaissance and this resource development technique. The supporter of company should able to consider monitoring social media activity related to organization. Suspicious activity may include persons claiming to work for the organization or recently modified account making numerous connection requests to account affiliated with the organization. Detection effort may be focused on related stage of the adversary lifecycle, such as during initial access. For the initial access, we can mitigate the system by training the user or employee to be aware of access or manipulation attempt by an adversary to reduce the risk of successful phishing, social engineering, and other techniques that involve user interaction. This is because adversaries may send phishing message via third-party service in an attempt to gain access to victims' system. Not only that, for this initial access, user can implement the antivirus to their system, since antivirus can be used to automatically quarantine suspicious files. Next, for the execution on native API, adversary may abuse this API function as a means of executing behaviors. Hence, we can mitigate the system by identify and block potential malicious software executed that may be executed through this technique by using application control tools like Windows Defender, Application Control, App Locker, or Software Restriction Policy where appropriate.
Hello, I am Numarsha Yasmin, and I will explain the continuation of the mitigation plan. Under defense evasion, environment variable permission has been used. It prevents modification of environment variables by unauthorized users and groups. Remote data storage is using remote security lock and sensitive file storage where access can be controlled better to prevent exposure of intrusion detection log data or sensitive information. Restrict access can be achieved by setting directory and file permissions, that are not specific to users or privileged accounts. Next is discovery. For these tactics, disable or remove feature or program is used to remove or deny access to unnecessary and potentially vulnerable software to prevent abuse by adversaries. Network intrusion prevention is used to block traffic at network boundaries. For network segmentation, it uses physical and logical segmentation to prevent access to potentially sensitive system and information. Data loss prevention is used under collection in order to categorize sensitive data, identify data formats indicative of personal identifiable information (PII), and restrict exfiltration of sensitive data. Operating system configuration under exfiltration make changes related to the operating system or a common feature of the operating system that result in system hardening against techniques. Last but not least, behavior prevention on endpoint. It uses secure methods to boot a system and verify the integrity of the operating system and loading mechanism. Data backup is used to take and store data backups from end-user system and critical servers. Ensure backup and storage systems are hardened and kept separate from the corporate network to prevent compromise.
So we implemented resource development in social media. So first, it is possible for adversaries to compromise social media account that can be used for targeting. Second, for activity involving system engineering, it may be necessary to employ an online persona. Third, in replacement of building and maintaining social media profile, example as social media accounts, enemy may breach already existing social media accounts. And lastly, using an existing persona may establish a sense of trust in potential victim if they are aware with or have a relationship with the compromised persona.
Next, pre-compromise. Adversary may breach third-party targeting infrastructure. Using hacked infrastructure, an attacker can stage, launch, and execute an operation. Before targeting, attackers may hack their infrastructure. This technique cannot be effectively countered by preventive control, since it relies on action performed outside the range of an enterprise, defense, and control.
Now let's talk about what is the other step the user of social media account can use to prevent from getting hacked by MITRE attack. First off, let's talk about password sharing. If your password is something simple that can be guessed easily, then believe me when I say that you will be hacked, especially using MITRE attack. Instead, your password should be a minimum of 8 random characters that are a mixture of uppercase letters, lowercase letters, numbers, and a special character. There should be no pattern to this and it needs to be completely random, and make sure you're using a unique password for each one. Another way to protect your account from MITRE attack is with two-factor authentication. This requires an extra layer of security. 2FA verifies your identity in two ways. First, with your username and password, and second, with an additional security check. A few common examples are a PIN code that is texted to your phone, a security question you have to answer, or something about you like your fingerprint. All of the major social media platforms like Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn offer 2FA and is user-friendly. Next, install an antivirus app. For example, robust antivirus software stop MITRE attack before it can download onto your system. It also flags malicious website that could lead to your social account falling prey to cyber criminal. If any of your social media account have been hacked, run your virus scanner to remove any malicious software that may be spying on you or stealing your login information. Review your account permission and restrict access to external app. During the process of updating your account information, you use your social media account to log into another site or app. This often ends up sharing a lot of information, which open up a potential vulnerability for the social media apps getting hacked. The cyber criminals now have the info to get into your other accounts as well to gain even more information about you. If you see any other apps that you no longer use or do not belong, revoke their access permission to all apps to prevent MITRE attack happen. Lastly, be cautious with third-party apps. You shouldn't let unknown third-party apps have access to your social media. This include popular apps by other developers such as social media schedulers for business, especially if the app has been designed by a hacker or cyber criminal. With all the information floating around online, it should come as no surprise that hackers and thieves are targeting social media accounts. So be proactive in protecting your information, especially from MITRE attack attempts. That's all from us. Thank you.